I think it is an acknowledged fact that corruption is a very important thing that undermines Kenya's economy. It has been acknowledged by government, it's acknowledged by the civil society, and it's acknowledged by the general populace. And that ranking, although it is an improvement from the last years, is nothing to write home about. And I think, therefore, that going forward, Kenyans and the government and institutions charged with the task of fighting corruption must prioritize the struggle against it as a cancer that must be gotten rid of.
All right, now, I mean, it's an acknowledged fact, as you say, that corruption is endemic in Kenya, and it's been really difficult subsequently to root it out in previous years. And with this grand coalition, what measures do you think need to be taken to speed up investigation and prosecution of graft?
A number of things must be put in place. It is true that in the past we have had situations where individuals who are engaged in corruption are taken through the judiciary. They are acquitted because the investigation process does not allow for gathering of the kind of evidence that would lead to conviction. So going forward, a number of things must be done. Number one, we must strengthen the systems of investigation in order to ensure that we gather credible evidence. It is also important to note that most of the money that is obtained through corruption is ordinarily kept outside of the country. And only a few weeks ago, the Court of Appeal of Kenya overturned a High Court ruling, and it is now possible for an organization such as the Anti-Corruption Authority to seek foreign assistance in gathering evidence and tracing these assets. It is equally important that we deal with the judiciary. The judiciary, as presently constituted, is one that cannot be a leader in the fight against corruption. So all these factors conjoined, coming in the context of a new constitutional dispensation, in my view, does open new windows via which we can fight corruption in a credible and, in my view, in an effective manner.
Personally, because of his own heritage, President Obama of the United States has often singled out Kenya and its corruption as an impediment to development and growth in the country. And we also know that in its diplomacy, there have been a lot of efforts to block investment and development aid into Kenya up until the fruits of the anti-corruption drive are manifest in that society. Have you in any way quantified the costs of corruption to the economy?
Very conservative estimates indicate that over 200 billion Kenya shillings have been taken out of the Kenyan economy via corruption. In fact, conservative estimates even do suggest that anything between 20 to 30% of our GDP is taken out by corruption. So in a manner of speaking, it's something that cannot be denied, that corruption has undermined growth and has undermined the socio-economic and political stability of this country. And going forward, it cannot be denied that unless we deal with corruption as a priority subject, then all the economic gains, our desire to realize the Millennium Development Goals and to achieve our Vision 2030 to make Kenya a middle-level economy that has middle income will not be achieved.
Now, many leaders in the Grand Coalition, campaigned in those controversial elections on an anti-corruption ticket. All the historical issues withstanding, has there been any sign that your drive is going to be supported by the state, by the parliament, by the judiciary, even corporates?
There is a sense in which a number of things are happening in Kenya that must give us confidence. First, the post-election violence demonstrated to the country and any doubting Thomases that if you run your affairs in a manner that is inimical to the welfare of the people, it can actually destroy the country. So the political class is beginning to wake up to this reality. And the president and the prime minister have stated not once, not twice, times without number, that the long-term health of the country not only requires but demands that we deal with corruption. And I want to give them the benefit of doubt. the public has also realized that corruption is something that cannot be ignored. When they go to hospitals, they can't get medicine. When they see education is being affected, they can't get clean water, they can't get the things that they deserve. They no longer celebrate individuals who are engaged in corruption. So in a sense, there is a movement which is that corruption must be rooted if Kenya is to realize its full potential. The last thing that I want to say on that particular issue is that in the past, corruption has been dealt with as if it was the duty of an anti-corruption body such as the one that I had to wrestle with the dragon of corruption in the arena of battle, while the people are spectators. During my watch, I want to demonstrate to the people of Kenya that everybody must be a warrior in this struggle, and that every heart and every mind must be changed if corruption is to be rooted as quickly as it should be for the long-term health of the nation of Kenya.
Professor Lumumba, what level of independence do you have to act without need to consult the executive or any political structures? I'm talking about access to classified information, for instance, and whether or not you've got any pressure to not deal with the sacred political cows. Are you in any way under such pressure to be cautious?
First of all, the statute that creates the anti-corruption body is very clear, that the director of the anti-corruption body shall not be subject to anybody's direction. And if I have the moral backbone, I should be able to resist whatever pressure is brought to bear. And I can assure you, and I want you to watch this space, I will discharge the functions of my office without fear, favor, or fear of consequence, because it is necessary that some of us actually make that undertaking. It is in the nature of politicians to try to interfere, but it's our business to resist such interference. And in the context of the possible constitutional dispensation, in fact, not possible, I think on the 4th day of August, Kenyans will endorse a new constitutional dispensation, and the new constitution does provide a basis upon which we can re-engineer and redefine and refocus the fight against corruption in a very unique way. First, it does require that men and women who are engaged in public service are subjected to scrutiny. And I believe going forward, there are few things that are happening in Kenya now that only send one message to those who believe in the long-term health of this country, that the country is moving in the right direction, and that round pegs, such as I consider myself to be, are now being placed in round holes. And it is our duty to be prepared to serve the country without fear or favor.